Morris, Anthony Otto Herrmann III, better known as Bud, is our next Commodore, our Rear Commodore, excuse me.
Well, Dave, thank you very much. You actually gave my entire speech. So, first, thank you all very much. This is really, sincerely a great honor for me and my family, and I'm pleased to accept, really. You know, I got the call from Jody and was really, kind of genuinely surprised. I thought, okay, you're going to be the treasurer again? No, we want you to be the rear. I said, oh, well, that's a surprise. Pleasant surprise, I should add. And the next discussion had to be with Cheryl, my wife, and she agreed, of course, to support me, and she always has, thank you very much, along with Sarah and Dylan. And then next I had to call the potential future treasurer. And Joe O'Neill graciously agreed to step forward a year earlier than we had planned, and then I was set and happily called Jody back to accept the nomination. So it's, again, a great honor, and thank you very much. Just to talk a little bit about these guys right here, and you've heard about it already, but one you forgot we didn't talk about is Kevin. Kevin also grew up on Belvoir, the same street where my house is. And so Kevin and I grew up from when he moved to Beach Haven. Tommy was across the street from me on Belvoir. And Dave, as we heard earlier, was the lifeguard on Belvoir, living on Gondola. So we really all kind of grew up together. And I think what's important here that we see in the club is the long-term relationships and friendships that are fostered here, and I think that's terrific. And also, I'd say it's not just because we're all the same age. I mean, I consider all of you my friends, and that goes from the youngest to the oldest, and it's really kind of special. We heard about what I've done. I'll say it a little bit again since it's on my sheet here. So, yeah, Cheryl and I did run junior sailing, and we did run the Down Bay Regatta, and also headed up the tennis committee. And then also, as they pointed out, I was the assistant treasurer, a trustee, assistant treasurer, treasurer before this wonderful opportunity here. And just to talk a little bit about, I think what Jack talked about is, and what Todd talked about, the spirit of volunteerism is so strong at this club, and nobody's doing this by themselves. It's all of us together that make this place special, and we shouldn't forget that. And the new members coming in and the way we bring them into the volunteer spirit, I think, is great too, and Pat has done a terrific job with that. To talk a little bit about my children, Sarah is the oldest, and she began sailing when we moved to Europe, but still had a great time with the Optian in the 420s and many trophies and flags, so we're very proud of her. She also is engraved on the Webster Cup for junior tennis, women tennis, so that was a great accomplishment. We're proud about that. And then Dylan, his third year as an instructor, is having a terrific time with the great team there, and also, as we heard, was on the Opti national team, had great opportunities and sailed in Belgium one year. And in fact, I'd say we saw Dave, Louise, and Kevin and Margie more in different venues than here, because our kids were all together sailing in these regattas all over the place. So it was an exciting time, and we had a terrific time. And then we also heard of my illustrious sailing career. So I was the 2-week guy, okay? And my parents had to take me to Hands and Kosas to buy models to get me out here. And I had the pleasure of sailing the same boat my mother did. I remember it sitting up against the garage. Wow, what's that? Oh, that's her boat. Yeah, okay. From 1945, as we heard, second place championship. Well, let's get it out for Bud and Bill. Okay. They at least bought a new sail for me, so that was good. And my most memorable experience was out, I think it was tacking north here, Liberty Thoroughfare, and all of a sudden the mast just came down. So I think the boat was sound, the hull was sound, but the mast step was completely rotted out, so the sail just kind of fell over the water. So I'm glad to say that I did sail, and as you heard, I also, for many years, crewed with Charlie Barkley on his cat boat. But I'm sort of bookended in between my mother, who was very successful, and my kids. So I'm glad to see that, it skipped a generation, but did well otherwise. And after that I worked many summers, 10 summers at Morrison's restaurant, but still had time to take my grandmother, who, by the way, would be very proud at this moment. I'm sad that she's not here, but took her to many July 4th luncheons, the LEHYC breakfast, and then my brother and I would always dance with her at the club dances. So I'm sorry that she's not here with us today, too, but we'd be very proud. Wanted to talk a little bit about going back in time, and my grandmother used to share stories with me that, so as we heard, they built their house in the late 30s, but before that she used to come here by boat with her parents, with her father and grandfather before there was a bridge. And her aunt actually was married to James Holgate. Documents that I found here. As many of you know, we were audited last year by the Internal Revenue Service. Susie and I had a terrific time with that, let me tell you. And one of the documents they asked for was the incorporation documents. When were you incorporated? That's a good question. Well, let's go dig in our old files and see what we can find. So we actually found the incorporation document. And one of the original 5 trustees is Edward H. Porter, and my grandmother is Marjorie Porter Hamilton. So apparently this is a great uncle of mine, who was one of the original founders of this yacht club. And the other interesting piece of information is when it actually was incorporated. So let me read in this good English we have here. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and seals the 12th day of September in the year of our Lord 1914. With 2 more years, right following, the centennial is 2014. Just kidding, we'll have a double ceremony. In 2014, we'll continue with the 2012 plans as we have them now. And I just want to say again in closing, thank you very much. This is a great honor. You know, let's not forget this dimension that we have in our lives. We are all so busy doing so many things in the winter, but we come back here in the summer, and it's really a special place. The connections, the other dimension that this adds to our lives, I think, is really something that we shouldn't take for granted, and really something that I appreciate. And again, thank you very much.